Yo, what up? It's your boy Tim, aka T.O. Speaks.
And it's your girl Yammy, aka Yams be saying, and you are now tuned into
Love and Theology.
I know I've questioned many things in this world, but I never had to question your love. So I know one thing's for sure. I can put trust in a real love, your love. Yeah.
For every mom who ever missed a meal so they would have enough to let their babies eat.
Yo, man, this is our first time for the last couple of episodes. We had a guest, so it's just us this time.
Yeah,
right?
it's just us. All you get is just us.
It's
How do you
just
feel
us.
about that? You like it? No, yes, no, whatever.
Hey, but we will continue to try to bring you guests on the show, just to give a different perspective, so y'all won't think that it's only their perspective.
Well, and I think that people have been receiving our guests very, very well,
Right.
because of the perspective that they offer. And like we said, Love and Theology is not just about it's not church, it's not a relationship podcast, it's just a conversation about life.
That's it.
So we are happy that we have been able to do life with other people, and in that have been able to put that in a way that y'all could go ahead and participate also.
Because I'm gonna tell you too, what I also believe in. We get into the subject. I believe that theology and Christianity, even spirituality, is not monolithic, right?
Mhm.
I believe everybody has different thought process, and I don't believe that it's wrong to think differently. I think here I've been noticing here that it's only in the Western culture, right, of Christianity that we fight against people who have different ideas on what the Bible means, right?
Real talk, I think, because a lot of my readings, and I'm sure it's intentional, but a lot of my readings this semester in the doctoral program has been just that. So I started off with a womanist midrash, which was talking about looking at Old Testament scriptures from a woman's perspective. And I started off, I went next, they had us reading a book about Black liberation theology. So it forced us to look at or the context of the Bible from the lens of Black liberation theology. The next one was a book called The Bible with and Without Jesus. And it had us looking at the Bible from a Jewish historical lens, and then from a Christian biblical lens. And then the last book that I'm reading is Jesus and John Wayne.
I love that title just by
right. And it talks about specifically white evangelicalism and its effect. I think the title is How It Fractured or whatever. But anyway, my point is that it's giving a perspective that I never, especially that Jesus and John Wayne perspective, because I didn't realize how far evangelicalism kind of went. And at the summation of at the end of the book, one of the things that she's saying is that she's ripping into them, for the most part. But the point is that if we don't understand the history of it, we can never dismantle it. Because the part of evangelicalism that is maybe extremist is really harmful to the Christian body, according to this author. But my point, to your point, is that having to explore different perspectives, and I'm even interested in getting into the Asian perspective of Christianity here later into my doctoral career, and it's giving me vibrancy for Jesus, or for Christianity, or this faith that I purport or I profess,
right,
differently. It's revolutionary.
And I think that's so important what you're saying, because once people realize at first, one, Christianity wasn't originated here in the West, for one. Mm-hmm. We adopted it pretty much. The Western adopted it, and then they began to twist it to make it work for the things that the West wanted to pursue, basically, right? So once you realize that, understand that a lot of the doctrine and theology and ideology that we focus on here in the West is not even correct.
It's not even true.
It's not even Jesus.
But we say this all the time. We'll be like, a lot of people be like, "Oh, we follow Jesus." No, y'all be following Paul.
Right.
So we need to distinguish that, because if Jesus says this and we call ourselves Christian, Christian, you know what I'm saying? If we do that and then we do opposite of what Christ maybe inserted or taught, then who are you following? Your distorted version of Christianity or Christ itself?
I remember I got a friend that mentioned one time, he's like, yeah, I don't really read the Bible, I don't get into all that, I just speak to Jesus. And I will argue that if that's what you believe, what you did was create a Jesus that you wanted to have for yourself, other than because there's no way that you can really, first of all, you can read the Bible and still not get an understanding of who God and Jesus is. It's not possible, right? But they give us some type of scope, some type of lens, some type of street to drive on to get to know God a little deeper. So if you say you don't read the Bible, period, but you talk to God, who are you really talking to?
I think it's super unpopular to say, right? But we're not going to know or understand everything
about God,
about Jesus, about our faith, ever. And I don't think it's. I don't think it's for us. I think it's for us not to, so that we're continuously kind of running back to Christ. So we may, like we say all the time, we may say something that is that we don't have. That we wrong. That we think is right, but we have to come back here and be like, we got it wrong.
How many? But I think that's the humility and the beauty of this walk, right? How many times with your teaching, how you probably taught somebody something wrong? I know I have a million times, but it's at that point when God convicts me and be like, "Tim, you need to go back and study."
Yeah, go back and study, and then maybe go tell them, "Hey, listen, I said this, but I don't think."
I do it every time. Like, "Hey, bro, I was wrong."
Like this ain't what I just read it and it's really something completely opposite.
That's why I always talk about never reading the Bible from a literal context, because you can't really. You can't.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you what my mentor Otis Moss. He's not my mentor, but
hold on. Yeah, let's talk about the good thing, right? So Tim has been talking us to death about this theologian, pastor, professor named Otis Moss.
For how long now? Just going out there for years.
For years, right? So I go to a school where Otis Moss so happened to within the last year. I was on the alumni board also, where he started kind of coming in and then started being like a guest lecturer or whatever, and then eventually is now slated to be a full-time professor at our school.
He teach hermeneutics, I think.
Hermeneutics. Yeah. So Tim also, can I say that?
What? No, you say because it all came full circle.
Okay, so Tim works at the school that I go to now, right? And so he's had an opportunity to encounter him.
First, give a shout out to your dean, because your dean made it happen.
Yeah, my dean did make it happen.
Dr. Deloach.
He's a cool cat too. Yeah. So we really appreciate it. But not only that, right? So they're offering opportunities to audit classes. I'm like anybody who knows me, for the first 2 months of this year, I've been dedicated to finishing all my coursework for the semester, because I don't know why, but I feel like March, April, and May are going to be super, super busy for me. So I was just kind of, let me go ahead and get it out of the way, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Your girl. By the time that this episode comes out.
My wife been killing it. I just want to give a shout out. She is like the most brilliant person I've ever met in my life, man. I mean, the way that she tackled her assignment, and I'm doing some simple stuff. I'd be like, Lord have mercy. I'm gonna get there. And Yama reading 6 books, writing 4 papers at the same time.
I literally.
I see Yama read the book. She said there, type. Reading a book. I'm like, how do you do this? But anyway,
I have been really. I'm surprising myself, but it was a mentality shift, right? Because I was kind of like, I need to do this for myself. And most people would be like, well, you're putting too much pressure on yourself or whatever, blah blah. No, that's not the point. I know. I just feel like I know what God is. Yeah, and that's been my mission. So it's gonna leave me open to.
She only 5 weeks in the semester. She done all the papers already.
Really, I literally have one paper that I have to wait for. I mean, I could technically write it because it's just a perspective, but I have to wait for it a mid-March.
And then not only that, how she been killing her papers, she actually been giving revelation to her professors that's checking it. They like, man, I never saw that.
Yeah, let me tell you something. One of my professors said that, and I was just kind of like.
And this man is regarded as a theologian, a scholar, right?
He's always been because I was asking one of my friends, I was like, yo, am I tripping, or has this specific professor always been kind of tough grammatically? Because, he was an English teacher or whatever. He was like, yeah, he was really particular about what he wanted. And in that first paper that I was worried about, Like I got a 97 with some critiques that he
gotta give you critiques.
I mean,
it can't be perfect.
No, I mean, and I'm fine with that. But a 97, bro.
that's almost perfect.
And then most of the issues came with grammar, which I have an issue with. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? When I write my thesis, I'm going to ship that off to someone so they can edit it and correct it and make sure that it's within a confines. But that's not what we're talking about.
But talk about this professor, because I remember you told me that he's first of all he has his PhD in Old Testament, right?
Yeah.
First of all, to get a PhD in Old Testament and to get one in Old Testament in light of New Testament is two totally different ball games.
Well, also,
to be an Old Testament scholar, man, you gotta know some stuff.
But I also don't know if he's giving me grace because his wife is also a doctor or whatever, and at Mercer, and she works in admissions, but she also teaches.
Okay,
but she was the reason I owe everything. Yeah, I owe everything to her.
I don't think Yam was even thinking about the doctor's program. They called her like, "Hey."
No. I mean, you haven't been saying something to me about it, and then I sent a message out. Like I sent a message out to her, and I was just kind of like, "Hey, I think I'm like maybe with this new, whatever configuration as far as like accreditation points or whatever. I think what it's called. I may be 5 classes away from getting an MDiv because I got a Master's of Arts in Christian
That's
Ministry.
right. You thought you had to go to get to the doctor. You needed more credit, so you was going to go to MDiv route.
Right. And I was like, I think I'm going to have to do 5 classes. You know what I'm saying? And then she was like, yeah, actually, we just changed it up again. Let me get back to you. She was like, yeah, no, not MDiv, D-Min. And I was like, but that's not what I sent you a message about. Like I sent you a message about the easier thing. And she was like, yeah, no. And then even when
you know what? I don't know. Would a D-Min be easier? I heard that's pretty hard too, though. You would have had to do some studying on that too.
The D-Min is what I mean.
I mean the
MDiv? No, I mean, yeah, but it would only been 5 classes.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Only 5 classes, yeah.
So, I practically would have been done by now. But
she graduated.
This May. But
2 master's degrees.
But I don't know. And even when I had my interview with the person over that particular program, I don't know why I'm not saying name. I just don't. Whatever. Anyway, Michelle Garber, who's helping me, Dr. Michelle Garber, she was just instrumental in helping me, or whatever. And even when I spoke to Dr. Nash about the program, he was just kind of like, yeah, she talked you up, and I was just kind of like, bro, really? Because I kind of went when I was in seminary. I went in stealth mode. Even now, I don't think very many people know me because I kind of get intimidated in these kind of academic settings. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I want to be, and my biggest thing is I want to be the person who's uses big words all the time and whatever. But even now, I was writing a paper. And in it, I was debating on whether or not I should quote a quote from Head of State, like "God bless everybody else, everybody. God bless America and nobody else." And I was just kind of like, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and let that happen, because that's how I've been writing my papers, a touch of academia or academic related, obviously, with a touch of this is a part of my, cultural kind of.
But I think that's the beauty of how you doing it. But I think that's what we need. You know what I mean?
Well, we'll see, because this is one of my last papers. So if he docks me, if he docks me for that, I'll be like, well, I went out with a bang.
What's your target year?
2023, I think.
Oh, okay, that's not too far, too.
I mean, it'll be what it is. I think that's what it is. Anyway, the point is, Tim working at Mercer has allowed him the opportunity to connect with a dude that years ago he said, hey, if I could sit under his tutelage, that would be amazing. Not only is he able to audit the class, or not only was he able to see, this dude around, the area, the campus, but he's been able to audit his class in hermeneutics. And one of the things, if you don't know about Tim, that he's mentioned that this podcast has helped him with, but that he says that he struggled in was public speaking. And you talk about that, what?
I mean,
the effects of it so far.
So far, yeah, it helped. When I audit his class, he don't just let me sit there.
Mm-hmm.
I have to get involved. We do improv. I have to sit there and pray in front. He made me do everything in front of everybody. the whole class.
He's gonna get it together. He gonna get you right.
But I mean, he's a
But
lazy
you
teacher.
wanted it, but like, because even I was thinking about that the other day. We talked about it on this podcast. How
everything came full circle.
No, I'm saying, like how what if, right? God used circumstances surrounding your job to put you in position to receive the prayer that you had forgotten you had prayed years ago.
I prayed this when I was in my 30s.
And he is well into his 40s.
No, I'm not well into my 40s at
it's
all.
It's his Jackie Robinson year. Come on.
I'm at my beginning of my 40s. The very beginning. But yeah, I prayed this because I remember when I came across when I was looking at Pastor John Howard West. I love him too. And one day, so I used to watch Alpha Street all the time, and he had to come preach on it. And the way that he talked his scholarship, I was like, oh my God. Yeah, and this one I was, remember I told you I started. I told you I answered my call when I was like 13, right? 13, 14.
So you felt like you
had a call in my life, right? So now I was walking into a heaven, and life happened. I went away. So it was around that 30 when I was 30 year old, and I felt it coming back again. And that's when I got introduced to Otis Moss, man. Yeah. He was the person like, man, he made me want to go to seminary. Well, not he didn't tell me this personally, but just looking at the stuff, like, he made me want to go to seminary. I'm like, yeah, I gotta go get this kind of scholarship this man got. And I don't think I ever be able to match his.
But it's not for you to match. It's for you. It's for you to take and mold into or allow God rather to maybe mold it into whatever God wants you to have it.
Because even at first, you remember when I wanted to audit the class, it didn't work out.
Yeah, it was a lot of struggle in order to get it, but without saying that part, because you don't know if whatever, but
but through the grace of God, God still allowed it to happen.
Yeah, and that's something to really be to be grateful for, like a perspective. And but you know your boy, even with something good happening, he was like, I just don't know, worry, because that's his posture. But
that's my humanity. That's right. But anyway, everything comes back around. We got a whole other subject.
I mean, but I think we can still kind of
because even when we talk about like with the Western, how we see Christianity in the Western culture. I had a quote that I was going to say. Otis Moss said too about that. He was like, he said one thing about Western Christianity is we got a lot of information but no wisdom.
Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Especially now that he is in close proximity to this to Dr. Moss. Dr. Moss, I don't know if you ever watched this episode. If you so happen to watch this episode, right? We are gonna get nothing but Dr. Otis Moss quotes from here on out.
From here on out, man.
I mean, I just foresee it, and you know why I'm enthused about this? Because one of my prayers in 2020, 2021 for you was for you to receive like mentorship. And God can do anything, even if you're not like hand to hand, face to face all the time with him or whatever, that kind of mentorship, even, you never know what can happen.
He's gonna be, I just hadn't had time to talk to him yet, but I told him, this is what I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna give you the whole thing. Tell him, I'm gonna say, look, this is, and if you understood why I came here, if you understand my whole journey here, God told me to tell you that you got to be a mentor. Since you are a spiritual man of God, you have to listen to God.
This is right around the same. This is around the same lines of how people say, God told me to tell you.
That's right. That's exactly what
my wife.
Yeah. Oh, God said I say you're gonna have to listen to God, man. I'm just telling you.
He gonna run this man off.
But anyway.
Okay.
But no, there was this quote that he said, and I think
without a lot of wisdom, I think that's really.
He said we got a lot of information about the Bible. So what we do is just read the Bible and regurgitate the Bible. But we don't have no wisdom.
We don't have no real understanding, no real wisdom. And that's actually the thing that I really, really want in the season of my life. I think for me, I am scholared. I am like well learned. But I really want to be flexible enough in this season to really, in everything, allow God to really, because I'm methodical in processing. I don't want to fail. I don't want to look bad. I want to be right, that kind of thing. And that's something that, I think people in my family just kind of deal with. But at the same token, there is, I laugh because, so we grew up Baptist, right? My dad is a Baptist preacher, pastor. And
he's a scholar too.
Well, yeah, he's an amazing scholar. But he's telling my mom, he's like, I don't think that she not Baptist. She Pentecostal. But I but I want kind of that energy to like not. I want to be sound, but in spirit and enthusiastically spiritual. I don't know if that even makes sense.
No, I think that's good because one thing that I give another quote that Minister Louis Farrakhan say is that right now we have so many people introducing what we call spooky gospel and spooky theology, man. Well, when people be saying stuff like, we got this kind of spirit on us. We begin to make God seem like this whole thing that we got to be scared of, man. When He's a loving God, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, but I don't think there's nothing wrong with identifying like certain things within the ethos that cannot kind of create a distance between us and God, though.
No, I don't think nothing wrong with that either. But what I'm saying is the way they most of the teaching comes off, man. First of all, man, if all we doing is preaching to sound educated and not get to the people, we're wrong.
No, I agree.
You understand what I'm saying? If all we're doing is preaching and making up stuff that grandma told you and you saying it's the Bible, we're wrong. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I completely agree. That being said, because I was supposed to say this in the beginning. If you want a Love in Theology sweatshirt, long sleeve shirt, or short sleeve shirt.
Baseball style shirt?
No, we don't have those.
Okay.
But long sleeve in this color, short sleeve in this color. Whatever this crew neck in this color. Feel free to hit us up at the link inside of the little comment things. And then I'll put it right here for you. Because I don't really remember right now. But if you also hit up our Linktree, linktree.com/love and theology, you can see where we have the merch. And we're excited to ship them to you. Let us know, you know what I'm saying? If you're feeling it. What? But here's the thing. So today, well, we're filming this in advance, but today,
right.
This drops on Lent.
Mm-hmm.
So Lent, when I recognize that Lent is not, it's not something that I think I don't think I grew up thinking that I needed to fast or do anything for Lent.
I didn't understand Lent until pretty much I got into seminary.
I agree.
Because in the Baptist culture, I grew up in a Baptist church, we never talked about Lent and fasting for 40 days or whatnot. So
most for those of you who don't know, Lent is a season, mostly considered a grieving season that on the Christian calendar, where people kind of it begins typically on Ash Wednesday, which is this year on March 2nd.
On March 2nd.
And the Christian people on the Christian calendar, it's a 40-day period where people kind of pray and reflect, leading up to the Resurrection Sunday,
right? And
it correlates with the 40 days that Jesus fasted when he was in the desert.
I'm going to give you a good fact. You ever notice that I think it's 46 weeks leading up to from here to Easter, but we only fast for 40, right? 46 days, something like that. But anyway, you don't fast on Lent. We don't on Sundays. You don't fast on Sundays on Lent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on Sundays you don't fast. That's why the days are mixed up.
I'm finna go in off of that.
Lent is not Sunday is not one of the days that you fast.
Oh, that's interesting to me. I wonder why. We didn't do
now you can. I mean, even when I did my study, I didn't see why, but it's not one of the days that fast. Look it up.
No, I'm not gonna look it up. I believe you. I think that's pretty cool. And so, what we have decided to do as a podcast. I mean, we are still ministers. We still, do this thing in theology. We're going to fast. We have decided personally that we're going to fast. And we're going to be offering maybe a couple of days, hopefully 40 days of daily prayer that you can either find on we'll probably go live.
And for all y'all super spiritual people that are going to be like, Lent is not something that the Bible speaks of, because
is anybody going to say that?
I see people saying somebody might say, I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm saying if you do choose to say it, like, it doesn't matter, right? Anytime you fast, right? I don't care if you fast because the church calls a fast at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
If you're doing it just out of religion, you're still not getting nothing out of it. Right. Anytime you fast, I don't care if it's doing a Lent or or at the beginning when church say everybody got to go on a fast from 6 to 6. If you're only doing it because everybody else doing it, you're not getting nothing out of it.
I agree.
So if even take this time, you choose to fast, no matter what we call it during Lent. If you're fasting in spirit and truth, right, you're gonna get something out of it.
I think too for me, because I don't like to follow trends, but I had to really think about it. I was like, am I fasting just because I want to do what's going on, or is it because I'm really looking to understand in this season, my faith. I'm really seeking to understand God in this season for His people, what He has specifically put me in place to do. Because my fasting is not this season, not just about me. It's about mission, yes. It's about purpose, yes. But it's also about gaining more understanding. So I'm going to be doing devotionals. I'm going to, and that's in part why, instead of just keeping the fast to ourselves, I suggested that we do at least one prayer a week, or maybe 40 prayers. We still haven't determined what we're going to do. Just for people in general, maybe couples, because we're working so much in couple ministry, all of that, because we understand that in this season, even though some people are coming out of goodness, people are still in desperate need of like God's presence. So profoundly, and we need to be available. We need to be purged and available for whatever the next is that He might require of us. Because to be quite honest with you, in walking in this faith, it's not necessarily about. It's not about us. Like when we say this theoretically and we say this logically, but for real, this whole being a part of like a minister or whatever, or being a part of a faith or in this capacity, it's not about getting any kind of glory. It's being open and receptive to the idea that some of the path that we might take is not an easy journey, and it's not going to be a comfortable one, and it may not even be something that we really want to do.
Yeah, I'm also going to say, I'm taking a different turn. Like I say at this point, woe to the preacher, to the person that is trying to, lead God's people, and they're not being sensitive to what everything that's going on. We got a whole world war breaking out right now in Ukraine. It's going to affect us, and we talking about, and we giving these watered down messages about stuff that's not going to sanctify. For real, like
praying for this world.
We in some perilous times right now, man. People still talking about going behind the pulpit talking about how to get your money together, man.
I mean,
and it's a place for that.
Right,
I'm not saying it's not, but it's also we gotta show the people that what's going on, and some of the stuff is starting to come to pass right before our eyes right now. So
in that, we have decided that we were going to fast, and I don't know what Tim is going to fast for. I don't think we have a collective, like a family goal. It might just be us doing something separate, and then what we do for y'all is what we would be doing. But if you do have prayer requests, something that you kind of want us to target on your behalf, or whatever, you can always email us at 11theology@gmail.com. You can write it in the comment notes if it's easier and you don't mind other people being available to that kind of wisdom. But essentially, we're going to be going in prayer for whatever God kind of positioned us for.
Yep. I'm in agreement with it. I think, and I'm not one that just jump on the fast bandwagon. I'm not really one. I believe fasting is I believe oftentimes we have a misunderstanding of what fasting is. Actually, I think most of the time people fast because they want God to do some breakthroughs.
Yeah.
Actually, fasting is for us to break our flesh down so God can begin to operate through us.
That's right.
You know what I mean? That's what it is. Not so you can get a house on the hill.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Not so you can get some kind of understand for God to begin to break, because it's our flesh that keep us from God. So you got to weaken the flesh in order for God to strengthen His spirit within us. And that's what it's about. So when you fast, just ask God to strengthen His spirit within you, so you begin to have revelation and begin to know what footsteps to take. I mean, what path to follow.
That's right. That's the mission. So, we thank you so much for tuning into the 11 Theology Podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow us, and
that's it. Peace. Hey, I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, it was cool. Okay, bye guys.
I know I've questioned many things in this world, but I never had to question your love. So I know one thing's for sure. I can put trust in a real love.
so they would have enough to let their babies eat. Fathers who grind every day to provide more than good advice. Charlie Sheen, take it, everything you gotta take to bring the bacon home and put it on the table. You are not forgotten, legacies are made in our darkest hours. God is watching, keep your faith. Don't bend, don't fold. There's a lyric I quote, tell me trouble don't last always. There's a Christ I know who revives the soul of the one who lose their way. Pursue the one who promised us a peace of mind. I tried to fly high on my choice of vice, but then I found Christ was the road to life.
Many things in this world,